Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We are excited to have Innovia Power Platform consultants Savannah Dill and Isaiah Donnelly here today and they will be presenting on what's new in the Microsoft Power Platform Wave 2 release. I know you're all eager to get started with this presentation, so before we begin, I would like to remind you that we are recording this webinar and we'll be posting it to our on-demand webinar library for you to review or share with anyone. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to type them into the questions box, and we will answer them at the end of our session during our Q&A. Now I'm going to turn it over to Savannah and Isaiah to kick off our presentation.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Power Platform Wave 2 release. Before we get started, I would just like to do some quick introductions. My name is Savannah Dill. I am a Power Platform consultant here at Innovia. My contact information is listed below. If you have any questions about the Power Platform, feel free to reach out at any time.
And my name is Isaiah Donnelly. I'm also a Power Platform consultant here. Also, my information is right there underneath us. So if you do have any questions regarding the Power Platform, whether that be BI or apps or Power Pages, you can shoot us an email and we'll be eager to help you all out.
All right, and before we dive into the individual improvements for each component of the Power Platform, we just want to briefly introduce the components of the platform that we will be covering today and, kind of what niche they fall into. All right, starting off, we have Power BI. Power BI stands for business intelligence, and it focuses on business analytics. So with Power BI, you can visualize your data, build insights, and connect to multiple data sources. Power Apps is the next component, and Power Apps allows non-developers to build apps that can be used on the web or on a mobile device, and it can also connect to a wide range of data sources. And then we have Power Automate. Power Automate is all about automation. And with Power Automate, you can build logic-based rules with conditions and actions that follow, and these can be automatic or triggered. And the last component of the Power Platform that we will be covering today is Power Pages. Power Pages is a new component of the Power Platform that focuses on low-code website development. The 2022 Wave Release 2 includes a lot of new features that make the Power Platform better than ever, and now we'll be going over a few of our favorite features revolving around each of these components. All right, starting with Power Apps, I wanted to touch on just a few key components that Microsoft has really highlighted with this Wave 2 release. The first one would be fusion of components, composition, and collaboration, with the first point being Fusion Team investment. Fusion teams are a hot topic currently, and basically in a nutshell, a Fusion team is a team that has mixed specialties. So, maybe you have a developer, maybe you have an app maker, etc. You have all of these different people with different skill sets working together to, create a product. So this was a big hit in this Wave 2 release, and we will see that with our favorite features. Some other hot topics would be collaboration in real time and creating familiar connections, allowing users to work with their apps and data from existing tools such as Microsoft Teams. So as we move forward, looking at our favorite features, just kind of keep these two things in mind, because these are the basis for what was focused on during this release wave. Also with Power Apps, Microsoft wanted to focus on every system being connected. They focused heavily on multiple data sources. Within the Power Platform, you use connectors to connect to many data sources, whether this is other Microsoft applications or third-party applications. There are many connectors for many different data sources. Microsoft also wanted to focus on offline connectivity and kind of working in that offline mode, like many other Microsoft tools allow you to do. Some favorite features revolving around those points that we just discussed would be Power BI Quick Reports and Power Apps. So with Power BI Quick Reports, you can create reports in the Power BI service, starting with a view in a model-driven app. With this feature, Power BI automatically generates the visuals for you, so you can start exploring the data with just a few clicks. You can, Power BI service then generates visuals and a layout intelligently based on the underlying data from your app. You can save the Power BI report to a workspace then of your choice, so you can access it at any time and customize it based on your needs. The second new feature that was a favorite would be makers can now work together on the same app and custom page. If you've worked in any other Microsoft tools, you may know that collaboration is a huge aspect of a lot of them. For example, in Microsoft Office, you can work collaboratively on a document at the same time. Now, with Power Apps, makers can work together on the same app and custom page in the modern app designer to accelerate app development through collaboration. This enables teams to divide and conquer work to achieve a completed app faster than ever before. The next component is Power BI. And just like with Power Apps, we will be going over the focused on areas of improvement, followed by new favorite features. All right, here with Power BI, Power BI helps drive a data culture where everyone at every level of an organization can make confident decisions with data at any scale. Microsoft continues to invest across three key themes. Those key themes are empower every individual, empower every team, and empower every organization. Keeping these themes in mind, Microsoft has begun to integrate Power BI deeply within Office, bringing insights to Teams and Outlook where everyone collaborates. Microsoft has also enabled users to find and share data quickly within and outside their organization, to track business objectives at enterprise scale through metrics, and to build narratives around data through storytelling. So as we kind of go over the new favorite features with Power BI, just kind of keep these 3 points in mind. So here are the new favorite features revolving around Power BI. The first one is subscribe to filtered reports. So subscriptions are a great way for you to stay on top of changes in your data, but the views you have been able to receive in the past have been limited. By enabling you to subscribe to a specific view of a Power BI report, you are now able to stay connected with a version of a report that is uniquely relevant to you. today, when you subscribe to a Power BI report, you can only receive this report in its default view, which may not be the view that you want. Microsoft has now introduced the ability to subscribe to a Power BI report in its current state with current filters and slicers applied, so that you can subscribe to the view of the report that you want. And this is generally available in November of 2022. The next favorite feature is mobile visual formatting. With this feature, report creators can now design great Power BI reports that are optimized for the Power BI mobile apps by formatting visuals specifically for mobile layout. This feature provides more flexibility and design options for creating reports that look great on mobile devices, and this was generally available October 1st of 2022. And the last favorite feature would be the relationship editing in the properties panel. So with this feature, you can create semantic models over big data and quickly edit relationships in the properties pane. To do this, you will go to the modeling view and expand the properties pane and simply click on any relationship line to view all the relationship options. This new relationship editing experience sends minimal queries by having no data preview and validating only when you apply changes. It also streamlines the relationship process, especially when you have large data models. And the last thing I wanted to mention was the Power BI release plan. If you'd like to stay up to date with all things Power BI, the Power BI release plan is a free app that you can get within Power BI service by going to the apps tab on the navigation panel and downloading the Power BI release plan. This is created by Microsoft and it is completely interactive. As you can see in this screenshot, you can see all of the months through 2023 currently, March 2023 currently. And like with any other Power BI report, this is dynamic. So for example, if you clicked on March 2023, you will see all of the features that are coming within that month. It also shows whether it will be in public preview or general availability or released status. Most of them, as you can see, have links as well. So if you'd like to learn more about each feature that's coming to the Power Platform, you can do so by clicking on each of those links.
All right, so now we can start with Power Automate. I'll be covering the updates for Power Automate and also Power Pages. Just to get us started with Power Automate in general. So the whole idea is to improve efficiency. And what it really focuses on is automating business processes, whether that be, sending an email when, a file is uploaded to an actual folder, or whether that be like sending an alert to an approver and for purchase order requests or anything like that. It connects to over 500 different data sources. You can even automate tasks on your local computer, which we'll talk about some updates with desktop flows as well. But that's just an overview of what Power Automate is. So two of the investment areas that we'll talk about today are with desktop flows and cloud flows. Just to understand the difference between these two types of flows, the desktop flows are what we call robotic process automation. This happens actually on your desktop. So what it'll do, it'll literally like mimic your mouse clicks on your desktop to allow it to go through your system, but automate some of the processes that you may do on your actual local computer. So really cool. Once again, you can do this with Windows sorry about that. Windows desktop applications, services, and just anything that you do on that local computer. The next one, Cloud Flows. Cloud Flows is really like the basis of Power Automate. This is where we see the majority of those connectors. You can connect to any aspect of the Power Platform. You can also connect to like any external services that you're using, whether they have a connector or not, with custom APIs. But like we mentioned before, this is things like, sending approval requests, or maybe, receiving alerts when documents come through a folder, and so on and so forth. The three most interesting. So there are actually a lot of new updates for Power Automate, but we just chose, the ones that were most interesting to us. For desktop flows, the three most interesting are the last runs in desktop flow activity, being able to actually see, what those last runs were, and also you can monitor and understand the health of that desktop flow. It gives you the ability to look at the capacity in graphs and charts. So it kind of gives you meaningful insights into how fast your flow is running, the time in between like trigger and actual action, and things like that. So it really just gives you this ability to monitor, the health and the stats of your desktop flow. How efficiently is it running? That next update is the new homepage. So Desktop Flow didn't have an actual homepage before, and the one that it did have just wasn't, as user friendly as the new one that they do have. But once again, this new homepage just gives the user, valuable information. It also gives them a list of all the available resources that they have in Desktop Flow that they'll need to create, new flows, starting from there. This is a huge upgrade from the homepage that we had in Desktop, before this new update. So it just gives it a really great look, and also, the interface, just the intuitiveness of the interface just makes it a lot easier to create and run those flows. And the last one are just general performance improvements. So the application in itself has become a lot more responsive. Users, when it comes to certain functionalities, so some of the things that we see, the actual starting of the execution of a desktop flow from that flow designer is a lot quicker. There's not, we don't have to wait for this circle to keep going for a while before it actually triggers that flow. It's a lot smoother of a process. Also, the response time when launching, via a website. So we can use desktop flows in like our URL. Launching those desktop flows are also a lot faster than they were before. So it looks like Microsoft is really taking a lot of time to, speed up, the actual system when using the desktop flow. It makes things a lot smoother and makes things run a lot, a lot more efficiently. So our next piece for Power Automate would be those Cloud Flow updates. So once again, the big difference between that desktop flow and Cloud Flow, desktop flows mimic actual mouse clicks on your computer. Cloud flows are housed in the cloud, and they work via connectors for the majority of the actions that are happening. Some of the really cool things that are happening, you're able to use AI to help create flows. This is like living in the future, but it's now. So what you're able to do is use natural language to describe the flow that you would like to build, and the AI feature in Power Automate tries to create that flow for you, right? So if you say, hey, I want a flow that sends me an alert every time this document is stored into this folder, then Power Automate will try and create that flow for you based on the natural language that you're using to describe the flow, which is just really cool when you think about this whole idea of citizen developers, this whole idea of just making technology more accessible and efficient. This is like where we're headed, and it's just really cool to see. That next one would be that native integration into Excel. So We see this a lot. Obviously, a lot of people are still using Excel for data sources or just, spreadsheeting information. Now, actually, within Excel, there is a Power Automate button that you can use to set up a flow right there in Excel using that native Power Automate functionality. This is really cool. Once again, it's spreading out the capability of Power Automate to be more accessible in these other apps that are used predominantly by business users. And then that last update would be the flow templates through Teams. So with this feature, organizations, they can now publish custom templates directly to the workflow section in that Microsoft Teams store. So, after an organization submits a flow template to the Teams store, an admin can approve or reject that request. If that admin approves the request, the users in the organization can browse and acquire flows created by makers directly from that Teams store. So literally, you can have, like our Team Empower team, we can make flows and then we can have them put into our Microsoft Teams store for other people in our organization to use, right? So it's really just giving us this kind of app source feel, which is what is used in Power BI, but it's giving us this app source feel that we can kind of cultivate for our own organization, and it gives, our colleagues the ability to kind of go through there and choose flows that might work for their certain solution or business process. So next, we're going to move on to Power Pages. So Power Pages is low-code website development. Once again, this is the newest feature of the Power Platform. It's really cool. It's a secure enterprise-grade low-code software platform that allows you to create and host external-facing business websites. Once again, it is low code to no code. So whether you are, someone who is new to Power Platform, or if you are like a professional developer, you'll be able to go to their design studio and rapidly develop, external facing business websites, which is, once again, just like a really intuitive user interface, and just it's making these technologies more accessible for, everyone who wants to be able to build things. So the investment areas that Microsoft has focused on in this next wave here would be administration and governance, the design studio, and then the template hub and pre-built apps. Administration and governance, once again, this enables administrators to efficiently manage, configure, and maintain websites. It's really, that overarching capability to kind of see and monitor how well the websites are doing, what permissions do people have, so on and so forth. The design studio is really this the bread and butter of Power Pages. It provides a simplified experience to create and customize websites, which we'll kind of talk about later. And then also another really huge thing, they give us these pre-built templates that we can actually use and that have functionalities that are geared towards business processes, and the ability to go there and pick out a template and then maybe customizing it further really makes Power Pages a really powerful part of the platform. Also, something I didn't say before, for those of you who have been using Power Platform for a while, Power Pages is the new and updated version of the portal experience that we had in Power Platform before. This has now been updated to Power Pages. Once again, really geared to this ability to rapidly develop external-facing business websites. So starting with administration and governance, some of the really cool updates that I chose, that number one, this ability to use these pre-configured web application firewalls. So this feature allows admins the capability to use actual firewalls for their websites. This firewall is managed by Microsoft, but it uses the OWASP, which are the guidelines for securing websites that are kind of used across the tech industry. But it uses that as criteria, and we're able to kind of protect all the websites that we are building in Power Pages by using this firewall that's once again pre-configured by Microsoft. Another really great update are administrator APIs. So this allows administrators to use these APIs to obtain website information from your environment. So once again, this is an API that allows you to connect to the websites that you have in your environment, and you can do things like, list the amount of websites in the environment. You can do things to see, what users are using those websites in that environment. But once again, it's just giving administrators an actual connector, which is what an API is, to the websites that are created in your environment. Another thing that's been updated is the administrator portal experience. So what's happening here? It really just gives us this simplified overview and this task-oriented overview of that portal experience, where before it was not as smooth. Now it's more of a simplified experience. It gives, once again, these different enhancements, the simplified overview, and also this task-oriented user flow overview. So it's just essentially saying that it's just, once again, a better experience using that administrator portal in Power Pages than it was before. And then that last update is site visibility. So currently, all the Power Pages sites are public by default. However, this new feature gives us the ability to restrict visibility from external access when the site is provisioned, meaning, once again, just because we make an actual page, it does not automatically become a public page. We now have this ability to alter and change that visibility to different members that we want to actually see that web page. So once again, this is changing the ability to either see the website when we want them to, or changing it to a private website. The next one will be our Design Studio updates. So like I said before, this is really the bread and butter of Power Pages. It's very similar to the Power Apps interface in the sense that this is where you're actually building the actual solution. Some of the really cool things that have been updated in this new wave are advanced forms. So these are multi-step forms that are available as a component in that Power Page Design Studio. Once again, it's giving us this ability to create these multi-sequential step forms without using code, right? So now we have this ability, once again, to add these forms to our websites. The next one would be the basic forms as well. So makers are able to build and configure their basic forms, once again, right within that Power Pages Design Studio, giving us this, the user the ability to enter information in this guided flow, provided by that form. Something else would be the guided learning and the learning hub. So the guided learning, this feature helps makers easily learn how to create and edit sites following step-by-step tutorials. You can also find this right inside of that Design Studio. Also, that learning hub, the same similar thing. These allow, once again, additional capabilities that enable makers and administrators to access guided learning and video tutorials within Power Pages, right? And that's really cool as you're like building a website and you find yourself stuck in a particular place. Now we have this ability to go get help directly within the Power Pages without having to navigate to an external website. And that last one are data grids. So this enables makers to do advanced customizations to data grid components, formerly known as lists. This picture on the screen here is an actual image of that. So once again, you have these lists, and we're saying the data grids allow you now to customize that list a bit further than you were in this previous beta version of Power Pages. Our next area of interest would be the template hub and the pre-built templates. So huge things here. Once again, Power Pages literally gives you pre-built functionality that you can then customize, to make it more applicable to your business process, whatever you're using. But it gives you this ability to not start, from scratch. So some of those new Power Page templates are the blank starter canvas, that permit application submission template, and also something really cool, a new employee onboarding template. So Microsoft, once again, is trying to make this process more efficient, a lot easier for the actual developer to use. So some of these new templates that are pre-built for you are, really cool, and they are kind of geared towards, that most accessible business process that, is hopefully ubiquitous across the board. That next one, which is, I know a lot of our clients are going to be super excited about, are the Dynamics 365 website templates. So this feature enables makers to create Dynamics 365 website templates from within that template hub. These are website templates that are related to customer self-service, partner service, community, and employee self-service. But these are Dynamics 365 apps that essentially are going to extend the functionality of the processes that are actually happening in Dynamics. It gives us this ability now to look at this functionality in an external facing website, where once again you can go look at your CRMs, you can go look at your customer self-service portals or your employee self-service portals, which is once again just a huge advancement that Microsoft has added to this Power Pages rollout, just those pre-configured Dynamics 365 website templates. And that is all for those Power Pages updates. I think now we're going to take any questions that anyone has.
Okay, it looks like no questions have come through. But if you guys have any questions in the future, please feel free to contact Savannah and Isaiah and our Power Platform team, or anyone here at Innovia, and we'll be able to help you out. I want to thank Savannah and Isaiah for presenting today, and everyone on today's webinar. If you're watching on demand, we thank you for taking the time to join us. And just a reminder, we have a new training workshops for you and your team members to attend. Visit our training workshops page at innovia.com/workshops for more information and to register for the training workshops that interest you. We also have more webinars coming up. Coming up tomorrow, November 30th, we have our partner, Easy Stock, presenting their webinar, Is Inflation Cutting into Your Cash Flow? Optimizing Your Inventory Investment Will Help. And you can check out our website for more upcoming webinars and events. And that's at innovia.com/events. And don't forget to check out our Innovia Conversation podcast with hosts Steve Woltz and Jeff Bergolski. You can find all the different platforms to listen to them on our podcast page. And that's at innovia.com/podcast. And while you're there, check out our podcast library and be sure to subscribe to receive notifications when new episodes drop. And we have some conference news. Coming up, May 21st and 22nd of next year is our 2023 Innovia Customer Conference in Scottsdale, Arizona, followed by DynamicsCon Live, which will be taking place at the same venue right after our conference on May 22nd through 25th. For information about the Innovia Customer Conference and a list of all of our upcoming conferences, please head over to innovia.com/conferences. And I want to thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on another Innovia webinar. Thank you, Savannah and Isaiah.